Hey guys, welcome back to the Ghost and Friends YouTube channel. We're blessed to have another Players Pairing on today. Welcome, Miss Yolanda Wells-Broughton, to the channel. How are you today, Yolanda?
I'm good, and yourself?
I'm doing great. Absolutely great. Texas is, we got a good team on the football field. We got a big game this weekend. It's
Yes,
hard not to be pretty happy and excited right now. So,
that's right. That's right.
absolutely. Well, thank you for being here. And I'm putting together a tweet to let everybody know that we are live. Get them over here and watching you. Um, So
Okay.
let's go back a little bit, if it's okay by you. Let's talk a little bit about Vernon in high school and about his high school career. When did you kind of maybe it was always, because you are you're a mom that's big and supportive of your kiddos. I have no doubt about that. So did you always think like, hey, Vernon's he's going to play football at the big time level at a big time school, or what was that moment where you finally kind of realized that?
Well, so I think all my kids, just because my kid was a basketball coach,
Yeah.
and so my from junior college on up was always running around the gym. They're in practice when I'm in practice with my teams. Nevertheless, they grew a strong love for basketball, uh, like myself, and really, Vernon's last year to play little league football was like fifth grade, maybe fifth or sixth grade, and he came to me and was like, "Mom, I really don't want to play football. I just want to focus on basketball."
Mm-hmm.
Well, I think a lot of that had to do with how the little league coaches treat big kids. And what I mean by that, it was like they had the mentality that kids are grown. They're not just because, he's big, and it doesn't mean that he has a plethora of knowledge in football.
Right.
Just, it was real tough to hear my son come to me and tell me, "Hey, mom, I don't want to play anymore." And the way he was being treated, I was like, I agree, because no child has to go through that, especially when they're trying to learn and have a good time with their friends. We all know it's about the snacks. And so,
Yeah.
you just want the kid to have a wholesome experience. So I was heartbroken by that, but I said, no problem. I was treating him. So I'm just playing basketball. Uh, he's in training, and in Texas, LA recruited all to get his attention for football. But
Got to do what you got to
anywho,
do.
that's right. And so 9th grade year, I'm just not liking the way his contact is, his how he's going to the rim, how he's finishing. You got to be able to
Okay.
burst through that
Okay.
contact to get to the rim,
Yeah.
and you got to be fearless. So, and I was just like, at the end of 9th grade year, and I'm just like, I was expecting him to turn the corner a lot, not so much faster, but more aggressively, I should say.
Mm-hmm.
So I go to him and I say, "Hey, son, um, I just need you to give me 1 year of football. And this is going into 10th grade. I needed more contact. Um, some Barkley, some Shaq. I'm old school, some Elijah
Yeah.
One going
Yeah.
through the
Let's
rim.
go.
Right. And so, I followed a lot of those guys, and Elijah One would teach me growing up at Fondy. And so I'm just a gym rat and love to be in the gym, and I was just trying to get better myself. But I just said, I need that contact. So, nevertheless, he says, Mom, I'm gonna just give you 1 year and that's it. Well, it took off after his 10th grade year. Um, First offer came from Baylor, then Alabama, and I'm like, wait a minute. I'm starting to question myself. Do I know basketball?
Right? Yeah.
Because his first year, and I'm just like, oh my God. And not to mention, he's at Spring Woods, and that's where I graduated from. And so with me
Okay.
working in the district, um with me working in the district, and it was right next door to my middle school, and and they didn't win a game, and I don't think they won a game since I was there, but nevertheless, he had a good experience, and the coaches started coming to watch him play basketball, and the offers are coming. So I'm glad he stuck with it and has found his passion, but his thing is still basketball.
That
So
that's that's great to hear. I am a bit of a basketball mindset first as well. And when you start talking about finishing at the rim, a lot of people don't think that basketball is a contact sport.
correct,
It
correct.
absolutely is when it's played the right way. And I know that a lot of
That's
times
right.
in you watch modern day NBA, it might not seem like there's a lot of physicality going on, but once you get into the playoffs and the referees kind of swallow those whistles a little bit,
Yes,
it's the
yes,
game that we know. And it's funny that you mentioned him using football to become more physical in basketball. I don't know if you remember Eddie Sutton at Oklahoma State,
yes,
uh,
I do.
longtime head coach there, Hall of Fame head coach. He used to have his guys in early fall camp practice in pads on Gallagher Arena, the hardwood. They would practice for a couple of weeks, and so that's really cool that you know kind of took that and did the same thing there. A lot of respect for the basketball guys. Obviously, playing multiple sports is very important for athletes today more than ever
Yeah,
because you pick up so many things through other sports that you can go out and use on the football field or
right,
whatever
right.
sport it is that you play. Let me ask you this about Vernon's recruitment. Obviously, he chooses Texas in the end, you know, with the good guys. There was an edit, you know, all the edits and graphics that are going out to these high school kids, and they're seeing, you know, probably have a billion of them. There was one that a lot of Texas fans used to have a good time with.
Okay.
Texas A&M sent an edit to Vernon, and it was uh, a puzzle piece essentially, or a puzzle board, and it said
Yes,
"You are the missing piece,"
right.
with Vernon as one of the puzzle pieces, and we just a lot of Texas fans thought that you know if you're going after a big time player like Vernon and you're going to take the time to make a really cool edit, just
Yeah.
maybe you find a little bit of a better idea. And so all the message boards and fan sites, they had a really good time with that, and I still on
Okay.
occasion see them bringing that Aggie edit back to life. It's pretty funny, but yeah, I mean Vernon's been with the program for a long time. Obviously, he's having a
Yes,
big year on the
yes,
field. Um,
yes.
what was his relationship like with Tom Herman, with Coach Oscar Giles, and obviously later on he's changed defensive line coaches a couple times, but going back to his first
Yes.
guys, how was everything with them?
Everything was really good. I've been in contact with Coach Herman. And I'm just saying, even throughout the storms. So he checks in and let me know that he's doing well. But
Good.
his relationship with Coach Giles, who's now at Houston, who's now recruiting the little brother.
There we go.
It's a household name, Coach Giles, Herman,
Yeah.
their household name, Coach Orlando. Um, so it was really good. Um, couldn't have asked for a better coaching staff, and just the relationship, irregardless of what took place and how he was let go and how the change came in. It was always about the relationship with Coach Herman, Coach Giles, and that we're all able still, still stay in contact. I think that speaks volume because of the masses that they recruit
Yep.
and how they recruit, you know. And I'm sure I'm not the only family that can say the same thing about. I just know that my mom will call Coach Herman in a heartbeat and like, expecting him to pick up the phone because she calling,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
those are the type of relationships that they built with us. So
That's the way that it should be. I mean, if you're,
yes,
like you said, they're recruiting so many players. And first off,
yes,
a lot of Texas fans say a lot of different things, varying things about Tom Herman. Everyone loved Coach Giles for a
yes,
very long time.
yes,
But I mean, at the same day, Herman was always a player's coach.
right,
He did have
right,
relationships. And I know that, a lot of different rumors, a lot of different reports. But all in all, players have very positive things to say about Tom Herman.
yes,
And so I was
yes,
glad to hear, that he had that relationship with you guys and the parents as well. And so
yes.
as he moved on, obviously Steve Sarkisian takes over, Bo Davis comes into town. What was that change like? What were your initial impressions on Coach Sark and Coach Bo Davis?
Well, I believe initially, we're gonna call a spade a spade. Uh, Vernon was actually contemplating leaving.
Okay.
And the one thing, and I'll tell any player this, and um, just because I want to see them prosperous and I want to see them successful.
Right.
He was contemplating leaving. I think that the pressure's on in the locker room, and I'm a former player myself, and you know, the jaw jacking. Well, I'm leaving if this happened. I'm leaving. I'm leaving. So, and I'm like, oh, hold up. No, no. Let's give me a reason why you want to leave. You know, you love Austin. Um, you have a room by yourself, and just listing all the positive there. And I said, here's the other thing. If you're going to transfer, understand that irregardless of who takes you in, you still got to go there and try out for that staff, that team.
Mm-hmm.
And it's going to be the same thing with Coach Sark coming in, having a tryout here. And whether you're ready or you're not, but it's going to be the same process. I think that at the end of the day, you're happy here in Austin. um you like, you love Texas, you love the campus. And so he was like, yeah, mom, that makes sense. So eventually, of course, he stayed put. Then I'm like, you got the best coach in the country coming. You still gonna have to try out for him. So irregardless, what you do, what you're gonna do elsewhere can take place here. And you just gotta continue to just keep putting the work in. I knew that Vernon wouldn't be ready. He only had a couple of years of football under his belt when most kids been playing and didn't, been playing the whole
Right.
time and didn't have any gaps. So, and I also believe too, you got to get in football shape. He had to learn the game, and so we knew just being behind the curveball of learning football, hey, we just got to be patient, stick it out. You keep learning, you keep showing up on the stat line, and every opportunity that they give you, you just keep putting the work in. And so, having the opportunity of working Coach Bo, teaching him, we were all excited. So he had built a great relationship with Coach Bo, and I see the improvement each year. Each year, I don't know football, but I see the improvement. I see the hands. I know, he
Yeah.
has exceptional footwork, and it's all coming together. So I look at him to this day and I say, okay, that's some of Coach Giles, this some of Coach Bo, and here's Coach Baker. And so, just putting it all together with the plethora of training he's had. So, um, and he's at a point now where the green light is on, the green light of confidence. No one knows when that green light of confidence comes on in a kid. So, that's the
Right.
rewarding part. And so that he's put it together. He understand, I think at one point, and Coach Giles said that, well, he got the tools, but when he go fishing, he using a hammer. When he need a fishing pole, he need the right bait and things of that nature. So
Well,
it's
like you
been
said,
very fruitful to watch, to see that, the training and the work he has put in come to fruition now.
right. And I'm sure that, there's along
I'm
those
sorry, I
lines,
can't
like
hear
you,
you. Did I
can you
mute
hear me
you?
now?
Sorry.
Can you hear me now?
Did I mute you? Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
I
Yes,
can't hear
ma'am.
you.
Oh no.
I see the
We've had
videos on.
we've had a few connection issues. I heard most of everything you said, but it did go in and out a couple times. It's okay. You
I
can't hear
can't.
me? Um, let's see.
Let's see here.
Is that better? Nothing?
Very little. It's very
Very
low.
little. Okay, let me see if I can turn this up a little bit. Maybe it's
No, I
on.
can't hear anything. Sorry.
Anything at all? No, nothing? What about now? Oh no. Um, I can't hear anything either. All right.
Can't hear.
Hey, I will text you. I will text you. Okay. Thank you for doing. We'll talk in a minute. Okay. I'll text you in a second. Let's do this. Anything now?
Okay, yes, I can hear you now.
I have no idea. We've had a couple of connection issues. I
Okay.
really, it's hey, we heard everything you just said right there was great information. Not playing football your whole life in the state of Texas puts you at a disadvantage. Growing up,
Exactly.
and
True.
like you said, even if you're a big guy, a big body, you don't necessarily know all the ins and outs, the footwork, the technique, the little bitty things that you need refined, and that's why you need good coaching and
True. True.
good parenting that understands how it goes and how development
Well,
works.
my philosophy is, give me a sack for a Big Mac. Long as he was getting the sacks, that's all I could teach him as far as
I like
football.
that.
And then not to mention his 10th grade year was Harvey. So I don't think they played 5 football games that year due to Harvey and the disaster. uh, they didn't start school for roughly maybe a month and a half later. Well, they went to school that one week, and then Hurricane Harvey hit. So, you know, he
Yeah,
didn't
I
play that
mean,
much either. So,
right, and that long story short, proud of you guys for not letting. I don't know. I'm not saying that he ever wanted to give up, but just for having him stick it out. You lay out the
yes,
options
yes,
for him, and like you said, he was always going to have to work, and you don't really
right,
play and contribute in the SEC as an interior defensive lineman until most guys have been in the system for multiple years. They've got their bodies right,
correct.
and
Yes,
refined all those small little tools, put the hammer away, and started
yes, yes,
pull out the fishing
yes.
pole.
That's right. That's right.
And
But also, too, there had been a history, from what I could tell. Like you go back to Okafor, you go back to Colburn, and all the guys that have been in front of him. It's like, and I'm like, look, here's the pattern, son.
yep,
But most of these guys are 5th-year seniors, and that's the way it has been. You look at Sweat, you look at Murphy, even in last year, and even before that. So it was a pattern, but it also revealed the consistency and where these guys' success came from. So I don't know how parents are looking at that, but there's some proof in the pudding.
absolutely. And I think Texas fans were very happy with what Bo Davis, Coach Giles as well, but Bo Davis and now Kenny Baker. I mean, what was Vernon's impression when Coach Baker got hired? Because I mean, and he came over from a place where not a Longhorns knew who he was, and a lot of guys were just
Right,
kind of
right,
like, we had a splash hire when we brought Bo Davis in. This didn't really
right,
feel like that splash hire. What were your
right.
guys' takes?
Well, as long as Vernon was happy, I'm happy. I was looking for the same, looking for his credentials, and but I'm watching spring ball, and I'm watching Vernon continuing to develop, and Coach Baker getting on his butt. And I was like, yes, that's my kind of coach.
There we go.
you know, because he wasn't letting him get away with anything. Do it again, do it again. So that right there just spoke volume to me, because at the
And
end of the day, people have been saying it's the development at Texas, it's development, and so, but also too, you got to drink the burnt orange Kool-Aid at the end of the day.
A little bit, right?
That's right.
And it's so good to hear you say that because development was an issue in Austin. You know, even when Vernon first got into the program, there was question marks about how guys were being developed. It was more so about the coaches before Tom and Oscar got into town. But you know, it's great to
Right,
have
right.
defensive linemen again that are making impacts in games. I mean, Vernon had the forced fumble and recovery against Mississippi State
Yes,
there. Beautiful play. I'm sure you made, pretty happy in that moment. And then
yes,
last weekend, hopping on a ball inside of the Cotton Bowl there that off the Anthony Hill forced fumble and recovering that one. How cool was
yes.
it to see Vernon and Texas take down Oklahoma, get the golden hat? Did you get any pictures with him with the hat on?
I didn't. I have the pictures, but I didn't. My son, the baby boy, this was my first. Well, this was his second time going. We went as a recruit, and then this was his second time going where he could enjoy the fair. So we didn't stick around to get the pictures on the field afterwards, but I do have some pictures of him in the golden hat. So,
Awesome. You got to beat those fair crowds. You know,
oh
get
my
out of the
God.
stadium. It was
Yes,
madness.
yes,
It was
it
hot
was.
and people
Oh,
everywhere.
yes.
But it's a lot more fun to stick around that place and hang out after a win. So
Right.
uh,
Absolutely.
I've
Absolutely.
we've lost that game a few times and I've almost ran out of there. Just I don't want to be here. I'm gonna get me back to the car as physically and fast as possible. But
Right.
um,
And people have been harassing us about the loss last year, but they don't understand that loss made us better. And that's how we got to the playoffs and
hey,
should have been in the championship game. So, if I'm going to take a loss, I'm going to take one early where we can rebuild, we can learn from it. And so,
yeah, well,
yeah.
that side's been pretty dang quiet since Saturday about 6:30 p.m. They haven't said too much, and so at least until next
Not at all.
October, we won't hear a lot
Right.
from them. But before we let you out of here, Miss Yolanda, I
Exactly.
just have one more question for you. What's your overall favorite
Okay.
memory of watching Vernon play ball? It could be basketball too. Doesn't have to be football.
Well, let me tell you, yeah, overall memory at Texas, um, would be, his first year. And you have to understand the growth behind this being my first memory. My favorite memory at Texas was him coming up with the sack, against Colorado, simply because our neighbor across the street, he played at Colorado. And so, it was very competitive. And, but he came up with the sack and had been practicing, his first year going through the scout team, O-line scout team. I don't know football, but I do know I've always been taught you never want to cross the side of the line. Does that make sense? It's okay to get moved from a D tackle to a DN or D nose or something like that. It's okay to move across the line, but I'm like, moving to the O line, and Vernon was a little discouraged, and I was like, you know what, son, at least you get the opportunity to learn what it feels like. So we got to find some positives here of why they have you there. Okay, and I understand too as a coach that coaches are going to put you where they need you.
Right.
Okay, but to see him at the Alamo Bowl, we knew that defense was destiny. Again, we had to understand the process of why coach put him there. But for him to come up when he hadn't been practicing defense and to come up with the sack, that's by far my favorite memory at
And,
Texas.
and
So
and look at him now. I mean,
right,
obviously,
right.
he's had a very, very big year. He's trusted that development
Yes,
at coach. Like going back to the Baker hire, for me at the end of the day, it's just right now, it's just trust Sark. Whatever he does,
yes.
I'm going to
Yep.
trust it. And even if I
That's
might have
it.
questions, I'm just going to trust it because he's done a lot of good things for this program. He has a lot of people around
Yes.
him, including families,
Exactly.
CDC, president, administrator, everybody's involved, and so it's really, really
Yes.
cool to see.
Yes.
And so,
It really is.
Yeah, I mean, great times listening to you talk about Vernon. Obviously, you're a big time sports mom. You know ball, and you understand the
A little bit.
development, and it's obviously,
Yes.
it's came to fruition, and great things are happening. Best of luck the rest of the way. Obviously, we'll be keeping up, watching. Maybe I'll run into you at DKR on Saturday, but have a good rest of your day, Yolanda, and thanks for being here and spending time with us.
Problem. God bless you.
God bless you. Give them a hook 'em horns, and we'll get you out of here.
Okay, there you go.